Okay, so the second piece of legislation in semis is a bill to prohibit private drone use. So first, a little background on the legislation. The legislation takes a very hard line against drones. It creates a national standard to be imposed in every state that private individuals, private corporations, and local law enforcement agencies won't be able to utilize drones for any civilian use. And it makes it pretty clear that none of these entities can use drones unless the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, that is in charge of implementation for this legislation, authorizes that use. So the FAA can give permission to an individual, a corporation, or a law enforcement agency to use drones, but unless they do so, the use of drones will be illegal. A fine can be imposed up to $100,000. You could receive up to 5 years in jail. So the legislation takes a very clear line. It's very obviously anti-drone use here domestically in the United States. The punishment is pretty severe, and the point is to limit the use of civilian drones in the United States unless you have permission from the FAA to use these drones. So, what is the problem and how does this legislation solve it? Drones were initially used exclusively for military purposes. They were developed by the American military so that they could strike targets across the Middle East without having to actually have American soldiers on the line. It would be a drone that was automated, flown from a secret location, remote controlled with a missile attached that could strike a target, so no American soldier is ever put in danger. We use these drones across the Middle East, in Afghanistan, arguably illegally in Pakistan. But now, technology firms here in the United States and individuals who like technology and are curious about drones have begun to develop them. And they've begun to use them for domestic use, and also some police agencies have begun to use them for like policing purposes. So this legislation seeks to solve the problem of rampant and overuse of drones domestically here in the United States. And what this means is that some perceive that drones can be used to limit privacy, and that also drones can be used to limit the right to life. That drones can be dangerous. What are some positive impacts of passing this legislation? First, it's going to stop security threats because of private drone use. So let's explain some impacts and some reasons for why individuals are concerned about their privacy when it comes to drone use. So, according to the Huffington Post in a March 2013 article, um, a lot of individuals became concerned with the use of drones here in the United States when law enforcement agencies started using drones for surveillance. The FBI started using them, local law enforcement agencies in major cities started using them, and they started using them to sort of peer into the private life of an individual. Maybe they were in a major city and they were being watched. Maybe the fear continues that they were being watched in their own home with the use of a drone. The capacity for an individual or for a law enforcement agency to use that would limit an American's right to privacy. You can argue that the right to privacy doesn't exist. It probably does through the Fourth Amendment, but that is a tangible fear that this legislation solves for by stopping law enforcement agencies and private individuals from spying on people with the use of drones. Additionally, it stops security threats because of the use of private drones. So a lot of people fear that individuals or the law enforcement agencies can create militarized drones that would be here used domestically in the United States. So it would obviously threaten the lives of individuals and, more importantly, would further the militarization of the police. And that's an impact in itself alone. That if we don't check the use of drones by local law enforcement agencies, we're going to see local police become more militarized. Ferguson